Chris Martin here with Nitron Photography, coming to you from Rapid City, South Dakota. Today I'm talking about SD cards, and the reason why I'm in Rapid City is I got guard drill weekends. Once a month I come out here, do my guard thing, and since I'm stuck in my my billet this weekend, I thought I'd set up shop and do a quick gear review. So SD cards, going back to this, it's very important that people pick out a decent SD card, and the reason why is speed for one and reliability for another. Now, we'll get into the speed thing later, but the reliability part we'll kind of talk about now. When you're shooting for yourself, typically you're going to put in a card, not going to think twice about it. You're going to shoot, you plug it into your card reader or plug your camera into the computer, and you're pulling it off. The files onto the computer, and it works great, super. Until that one event that your card goes bad for whatever reason, and you lose all your images on there. And so I tend to give advice to people to buy smaller cards and then try to rotate them out as often as you can, and try to download them as quickly as often as you can, so you don't lose any major amount of precious memories, because some people can go months with having a card in their camera and not pull anything off of that. And so not a big fan of that. Make sure that you're downloading your pictures frequently and you're backing them up on your computer. And so with SD cards, I've got a little head-to-head competition to you. The guys at Harold's let me take this Promaster SD card out of the shop, and at first I was very skeptical. I'm a SanDisk fan, profusely SanDisk fan, and I have been for years, probably because it's more superstitious than anything else. And I also like the performance of these. And so I know there's other brands out there, and they're very good brands. It's just that once I've kind of stuck to this brand, I've stayed in that camp, and I haven't really changed. So, but I'm going to give this a fair gear review today. This is a all-weather, doable, extreme card. It's got a read-write speed that's very, very fast. And so typically there's different read-write speeds. You see like class 4, class 6, class 10, UHS 1, and there's different degrees of UHS 1 variables. And so if you get in like the 20 meg per second, which is a fast transfer speed, you're looking at around that class 6 speed. Or even class 4, I can't remember exactly. It's around that range. When you get into the 30 meg, you're definitely in the class 10 speed. Class 4, let's see, class 10 UHS 1, you're looking at a 45 meg per second read-write speed. The fastest speed that you can get on a card right now is a 95 meg per second card. And so the SanDisk advertises this as a 95 meg per second, but that's a that's a read speed. The write speed is 90 megs per second. The same thing on the Promaster, and I'm going to take this out of the box here in just a second. We'll unbox this and take a look at it. And before I do, I wanted to get into the importance, once again, of shooting with a reliable card, and you're making sure that you're not missing out on those memories. I've had one card go bad, and fortunately, pick up the camera back up, I shoot bodies that have 2 cards in them, 2 card slots, and I do this for redundancy. Some people can use this for backup, and then some people use it for overflow. Never use it for overflow. I always use this for backup. Why? I did have a card when I was shooting a wedding one weekend, and the first card went bad. Okay, I pulled it out. I replaced both cards immediately. That way I at least had the second card to go, and then I was back in the action. And I do carry quite a few cards when I'm shooting for a client, particularly a wedding client, because I can't get those pictures back. I can always reshoot like a senior picture, or I can reshoot a couple, or I can reshoot a child portrait session, but weddings you really can't get back, and so I don't mess around with that. In doing so, when you're looking at read-write speeds, let's take a look. I'm going to turn this on. I'm shooting in RAW, and a 24 megapixel camera, for one, is going to have a lot of file size to each individual picture. And so when I'm shooting this, you're going to hear a lot of clicks, and then the buffer in the camera is going to go click, 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 and it's going to slow down because it's writing to that SD card. The faster the card that I have in there is going to be able to push that from the buffer in the camera to the card. And so let's go ahead and shoot. Oh, it's on single. Nice, see? It's slow already. So I'm going to shoot. And you can see that it's kind of slowing down. Now that's in a RAW format. If I change the quality to like JPEG, and a million people shoot basically JPEG, I'll shoot this on the largest JPEG size with the finest quality, and I'm going to go. Once again, it's slowing down, but it's keeping up pretty decently. And so I'm going to do one more test on this. I'm going to push this out. I'll have a little timer here going at the bottom. That's this SD card. I'm going to pull this out, and that's my SanDisk, 32 gigabyte. I'm going to take out the Promaster. Now I don't like to switch camps a whole lot on a lot of things. It's kind of like going from Nikon to Canon. Canon's great, but it's just once you kind of pick a camp, you're kind of in that camp. And so taking this out right away, comes in a very fancy, all weatherproof, tight case. And so very impressive. It's kind of a lot for one little SD card, but considering if you're shooting for a major client, maybe you want something like this. So I'm impressed that it comes with this. The SanDisk cards do not come with that. And so put this in my camera. I'm not going to format this. I'm just going to shoot it right out of the deal. And so I'm just going to start firing away. I'll have my little timer go down here, see how many shots we can get in. Pretty much about the same performance. It took about almost 20 shots there, 19 shots. And oops, sorry, dropped the box. It pretty well stayed consistent with the SanDisk card. Now, a true test of this is to shoot it for quite a long time and see what kind of performance I get out of this during the day to see if it, if it clunks out on me. Most likely, it'd probably give me pretty solid performance. Most SD cards do. Now, if I'm a little old lady grandma and I've got my garden of lilies out in the backyard and I want to take great macro pictures of my lilies, probably not going to need a 95 meg per second card. You're going to get by with something that you can get at any camera store like Harold's or a Walmart or whatever, and with any write speed that you have on there, you're going to be taking one picture at a time. So you're not going to be blazing the trail and spraying pictures all over the place trying to catch everything in sight. So a slower card is perfectly fine in that application. And so just make sure that if you go with a card, do a little bit of research online, check out the reviews of those cards. Consumerism is a big thing to me, and so if you're checking out the quality of not only the camera, but check out the quality of that card, you're going to find out that you're going to be a lot happier in the end, that you don't hopefully have a bad card go on you. Now, if you do get a bad card, one thing that you can do is you keep the back of the box, or if anything, if you purchase it, keep the receipt. If you contact the company, like I contacted SanDisk, they said they would replace it, not a problem. And so I had all the documentation, and it's got a limited lifetime warranty. Same thing with the Promaster card. Not only that, but it's also made in the USA. And so I'm going to probably shoot this next week. I've got a couple senior pictures to do, and I'm going to see how it stacks up and see how it performs. Most likely, I'm going to probably give it a pretty positive review. If it can keep up that much as far as writing from the buffer into the card that fast, just like the SanDisk card did, I'm going to give it a fair shake on that and say that it performed well. So that's it probably for this week on Nitram Reviews. Check out my review page at reviews.nitramphotography.com. You can also check out my wedding photography at nitramphotography.com. If you have any questions, you can always email me at chris@nitramphotography.com. So.